had my biggest losing session yet, and I lost over $16,000 in less than an hour. I'm Andrea with Blackjack Advisors, a team of 6 advantage card counters who travel all over North America beating casinos. In this video, I'm going to go over a trip I just took last May that lasted 5 days, and it was my first trip where I actually vlogged what was happening in real time. So for this trip, I flew into Houston, found my rental vehicle, and it was about a 2-hour drive to my first casino. I arrived there at 9 p.m. and started playing after a full day of travel. I got 5 hours of play and won $6,500 before this happened.
We know that you're an advantage player and you're moving your money with the counts, so we're going to back you off from Blackjack. You can play anything else, but not Blackjack.
I was really exhausted at this point after a day of traveling, driving, and then playing for 5 hours. So I found a hotel that I had pre-booked because you have to book before midnight, and went there and crashed pretty hard. So we play long hours, we're dealing with a lot of travel, and then confrontation within casinos. So it can be a lot of work. Day 2 is when things got interesting. I drove an hour to my second casino where I lost over $16,000 in less than an hour. I can't tell you how hard this was. That's when I send my session results to Rick, and he gives you a phone call after to make sure you're okay. You get into your vehicle and you're doing your calculations and making sure you log that session correctly, and you're realizing you're down about 10K on the trip already, and it's a pretty discouraging feeling. I find when I'm down on a trip, I work twice as hard. So I drive to my third location where I lose $960. I drive to my fourth location where I lose $150, and then I drive to my fifth location where I lose $1,600. Driving to my hotel that night and thinking about all the money I lost was really tough. Trying to fall asleep when you're down over $12,000 on your trip is really tricky. You start the mental games of, oh, I wish I didn't go to that spot, or if I had gone to this one first, that wouldn't have happened. All those what ifs in your head, which do no good for anyone. Well, I just played 10.5 hours at the last casino and lost $1,700. I just got back to my hotel room and now it is storming like crazy outside. Yeah, this is the only line of work where you can put in a 10-hour shift and lose a lot of money. Better turn this around soon because getting discouraged quick. This is why, even though we make a lot of money as card counters, we learn to respect every dollar. We're in it for the long run, but that short term can be very tough. Just learn to embrace the highs and the lows. Hey guys, it is going on day 3 of the trip. I just stopped at a grocery store to grab water, some fruit, and a granola bar for breakfast. Yeah, I woke up, I had bad dreams last night. When you're down on a trip, you do not sleep well. It's not a fun place to be. Yeah, so I'm about to hit the next spot, and I find on these trips when you're down, you're eager to get back in there to make it back. At the same time, you're, nervous to lose more. So that's what I feel like right now. I know what people in the comments are saying, oh, you must not be a good card counter if you're losing that much, but that's not the case. Any card counter, the best, are going to experience bad variance. So day 3, I am getting after it. I'm very excited to get into casinos and make some of my money back. And so the next spot I went to, I won over $3,500 in a few hours. I got 2 hours and 8 minutes at this casino and dealt with some crazy swings and hands. I was actually able to get a photo of this one, and they didn't kick me out. They started to half shoe me. Being half shoed is when the pit boss tells the dealer to cut the shoe in half or worse. This is what it's going to look like when the dealer cuts the shoe in half. Casinos don't like to do this because it limits their rounds per hour, which are normally profitable for them. This effectively gets rid of your advantage. I tried to move around a little bit, go to a different table where the dealer hadn't been told to half shoe me, but the pit bosses were pretty quick to go around, so I'd only get one shoe at that table before they cut it in half. And so I could tell that they were sick of me and it was my time to go. So I go to my next spot, Casino 7, and lost $40. It was a quick back off, so I figured I definitely was flyered. Then I went to my next spot, the 8th casino on this trip, and I won $275 before they backed me off quickly as well. Day 4, I went to my 9th casino, and this was a good EV game, so I decided to wear my wig and give it a try. And it worked. I got 4 hours and won $6,300. This was such a relief because I was then only down about $2,000 on the trip, which felt like I could see the light after that. I drove past the prettiest beach, so I decided to stop, put my toes in the sand, take some deep breaths, and try to relax after a very stressful trip so far. I just won $6,300, so I decided to stop and put my toes in the sand. I got to my 10th casino and they let me grind. I got over 6 hours and won close to $10,000. It was about 6 in the morning at this point and I was exhausted, having a hard time keeping my eyes open. So I decided to go find a hotel to sleep in for the night and go back the next day. There was a lot of heat. This pit boss was on the phone and I could hear him saying, "She's winning every hand. This is crazy. I've never seen this before." And I was just shocked that they hadn't backed me off yet. So the next day I figured, okay, I'm gonna take the wig off and go hit the next shift and hopefully they don't recognize me. But that was a bad idea. They definitely recognized me. Pit boss comes and talks to me and the first thing he says is, "Where's the wig you were wearing yesterday?" There was no need to call me out like that. Didn't even know what to say at that point. I just looked at him and said, it got really itchy, which they do. Wearing a wig for that long is terribly uncomfortable. This was one of the meanest back-offs I've ever had, where the pit boss called me greedy.
Refuse to leave or leave in return, you will be subject to arrest and trespass.
Oh, you could just ask nice, but
Well, you got greedy.
I got what?
You got greedy.
Oh, okay. Not like the casino industry.
Yeah, you're gonna beat it.
There was this really nice Hawaiian gentleman that was playing with me that day, and he had played with me the night before, so he noticed too that I wasn't wearing the wig anymore. He got to see this little altercation, and the pit boss was being really aggressive. So once I colored up, I was like, "Good luck, don't win too much." And he's like, "Yeah, no kidding." But no matter what he said to me, I was not going to be in a bad mood. I was up on the trip now. Even though I got escorted out, I left with a smile on my face. So now I go to my last spot on this trip, Casino 11, and I lose about $3,800. Cue the mental head games of, I should have just skipped this last spot and went straight to the airport. But you can't think like that. You have to think in terms of generating EV. I'm going to go to as many casinos as possible and generate as much money as possible. The math says after playing a perfect game, I'm going to be profitable in the long run. But I'm only human, and this trip was really hard. So I ended the trip up $3,935. This was a huge relief. But when I factor expenses, it was pretty much a break-even trip. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I appreciate all of you, and I really enjoy making content like this. I was thinking for a future video, Goodyear and I will go on a trip together, we'll wear disguises, and we'll compete as to who can make the most money on the trip. And the loser obviously has to do some sort of humiliation. If you guys have any ideas for videos you'd like to see, just throw them in the comments below.